Good morning. Welcome to the SACPCMP show, Shapeshifter. And we welcome you to the brand new studios today. And just to give you some news first from the SACPCMP, as you will know now, we have a new registrar. His name is Mr. Bucha Matotle. He is a previous Deputy Director General at the Department of Public Works, but he'll introduce himself on the show very shortly. With us today, we have in the studio my colleague. He is the Executive Project and Construction Management at SACPCMP, Jimmy Modise. Welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about registration and the dreaded deregistration process. That's our focus of our show today. And Jimmy is here to demystify this area. Jimmy, let's start by just asking you about yourself. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and the position you hold?
Well, I'm Jimmy Modise. I'm an electrical engineer by profession. I have worked in the built environment for most of my life and retired before joining SACPCMP, where I'm currently holding the post of Executive for Project and Construction Management.
Now, you've been in this position for some time now, so you've experienced and you know it quite well. Can you tell us how you undertake assessment for professional competency at the SACPCMP?
The assessment for professional competency is in two parts. Firstly, for those requiring registration to the professional categories, it's first a paper-based assessment. And if they are successful in that, for them to then undergo a professional interview. I may also emphasize that the assessment is carried out by our registered persons who are formally inducted into the registration process. And in respect of candidates, it's just only the paper-based assessment.
So this process from candidate to registered person, how long does it take approximately?
Well, it currently takes about, at the most, about 4 months, because we are doing the assessment on a manual basis, but the aim is to move towards online assessment of applications, which we hope would bring down the period for assessment to about 1 month.
And it is a fairly rigorous process.
Yes, it is a very rigorous assessment.
So you've got to jump through quite a few hoops before you get your professional registration.
That is correct.
Okay. What are the requirements once one is registered? Are there any requirements after that?
The requirements are twofold. For both candidates and those registered as professionals, they are required to pay the annual fees on an annual basis. Now, the annual fees are the ones that sustain the operations of council, and our annual fees are comparable to those that are other charged by other professional bodies within South Africa. Secondly, for those registered as professionals, they are required after a period of 5 years to be fully CPD compliant.
Okay. So they've got to maintain the CPD.
Yes.
Okay. And that's how you maintain your registration, CPD and annual fees.
For professionals is CPD, that after 5 years, the renewal of your registration will be dependent on you being a fully CPD compliant. You have to have gained 50 hours to have for you to maintain your registration.
Okay. All right. And for the annual fees that registered persons pay, what value do they get? Why should they be registered?
There are many benefits to registration. There are benefits that accrue to the individual himself,
okay,
in the sense that his professional competence is attested to by an impartial body. There are also benefits that accrue to industry or to the employers, in the sense that the person who is a registered person is obliged to comply with a code of conduct, and that if there are any acts of misconduct against such a person, the council has an obligation to carry out an investigation into any acts of improper conduct. And there are also applicable sanctions that are within the act that the council can take if such a person has been proven for improper conduct. More importantly, all cases of improper conduct are also gazetted for the general notification of the public.
Okay. And of course, the interest of the public, they've got to be protected at all times.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about CPD. Can you tell us a little bit about how the SACPC runs CPD?
SACPCMP runs CPD in two ways. There are 3 categories of CPD that the registered person should comply with. There is category A, which is split up into core and non-core knowledge, for which the requirement is that over a period of 5 years, the registered person should have attained 30 hours over a period of 5 years, which means it's 6 hours per year. Then there's category B, category being that of mentorship and development. Then there's category C, which is on-the-job training. Both of them, the registered person has to acquire 10 hours over a 5-year period, meaning that in a year he should gain 2 years. Now what we do is we validate courses for CPD, we validate courses, workshops, seminars, and conferences for CPD. But over and above that, we also have CPD bundles, which most of our registered persons don't actually use, but which are beneficial for them to use them, for the simple reason that the CPD bundles, we have a special rate. If you buy these 4 CPD bundles, the cost will be about 4,000, which is a special rate, whereas if you buy a single bundle, the cost will be about 2,200. Now, there are advantages to be gained by using CPD bundles. CPD bundles is basically requires a registered person to look at a video and then answer a quiz thereafter. And once he answers the quiz thereafter, the CPD hours that he gains are automatically uploaded into his profile. And if one uses 4 CPD bundles, he would have gained the required hours over a 5-year period.
That's interesting. So in other words, in a busy life, this is an easy way of earning your CPD points.
Indeed, yes.
Okay. All right. Are there any other options besides the ones you mentioned? Those are all the options.
These are the 2 options that are available, and I would like to impress upon our registered persons to use the CPD bundles, because as you have indicated, people have a busy life. They don't have time to attend these courses and conferences that it's very beneficial to them to use the bundles.
And the SACPCP has been very vociferous about getting people to get CPD compliant, making sure that they comply within the 5-year period, which is a reasonable time frame, I think.
Yes, and not only that, but on a year-by-year basis, we send them their statements. The statements will tend to indicate how many hours they have acquired and what additional hours they would require.
Okay. All right. What is the prescribed payment period for registered persons?
The prescribed payment period is every December. Council will issue will issue invoices for payment of annual fees for the following year. And the prescribed payment period is over a period of 90 days, which is from the 1st of January on each year to the 31st of March.
Okay.
So which is 90 days,
90 days.
which gives the registered person an adequate time to plan to pay their annual fees.
Okay. All right. Now, what happens to one who does not pay within that prescribed period?
If one does not pay within that prescribed period, it automatically means that from the 1st of April on that year up to the 31st of March the following year, the person is on suspension. When somebody is on suspension, he will not be able to access his profiles, because that he can only do if he resuscitates his registration over that period. And if from the 1st of April to the 31st of March, the person has not paid, then the person will be will be deregistered. Essentially, a person is deregistered after 15 months of not paying his annual fees.
Okay. So the SACPCMP is very lenient. They give you 15 months in which to do this, literally. And the reason for that, I'm assuming, is that deregistration is not a route that you should pursue, because to get back in the system must be a huge challenge.
Yes, it is, in the sense that the process for reinstatement of registration is very onerous and very cumbersome. First,
and cost intensive too.
Yes. First, the person will have to pay the arrears of fees that are owed up to the period of deregistration. Then on top of that, we'll charge a 30% penalty, and the charges of penalties are embodied within our Act, but we on our part, we charge 30% penalty. Second is the person will have to pay for an interview, and he will undergo an interview. And if he is approved for reinstatement of registration, then he will have to pay the annual and registration fee. That's how cumbersome the process is.
Yes.
Which would one would appeal to registered persons to avoid being deregistered.
Yes.
Because it's not also a guarantee that you'll be reinstated, because you may fail at your interview.
Yes. So to avoid deregistration, that's the message that we're sending out. And we are communicating with those individuals who are in danger of being deregistered. We are sending them information. Are we communicating with them?
Yes, we are. I may also indicate that for those that are not CPD compliant after 5 years, we make them on the 6th year to undergo a remedial program. Then if by the end of the 7th year they are still not CPD compliant, then we deregister them as well. So deregistration may be due to 7 years of non-compliance to CPD, or 15 months of the failure to pay your annual fee.
So those are the two key items. I must thank you very much. It's been very informative. Mr. Modise, I must thank you for your information, and it's been very informative. So the message to all registered persons who are in danger of being deregistered, to please get compliant as soon as possible. One of the options is to take advantage of the CPD bundles. And of course, that's if you're not CPD compliant. And of course, if you have not paid your annual fees, then please talk to the finance department and see how that can be arranged. Because to try and get back in the system is an onerous process. Thank you.
Thank you.